Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Ontario Cryptids. I hope you all are enjoying these warm summer days and staying active. Today I have more fascinating encounters to share with you all, but before we get started, let's take care of these callouts. If you enjoy this content, don't forget to hit the like button, the subscribe button, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another upload. And if you have an encounter of your own, I'd love to hear about it. Send your stories to ontariocryptids@gmail.com. Now sit back and relax, and let's jump right into this week's encounter stories. I'm 15. Me and my cousin live near a forest that always felt strange. It splits into two areas, the upper part where my mom had a strange experience years ago, and the lower part where we saw something. 4 years ago, I saw a small figure behind an oak tree in broad daylight. It had a big pale head, black coat, and huge black eyes. It swayed slowly while staring at me. I said, "Who are you?" No response. We stared at each other for another 10 to 15 seconds. I went to get my phone and it vanished. That same area always gave me a bad feeling, like I'm being watched. I stopped going there for years. Recently, my cousin saw the same thing, only this time it had no face. He thought it was my mom until he realized something was off. We compared our stories, and it matched perfectly. It moved the same way. My mom once told us that she was chased by a white figure in the upper woods near the big oak. When she got home, a rooster crowed, and whatever it was vanished. That oak got cut down, and nothing strange ever happened there again, but now the lower woods are active. Last year, me and my cousin heard something hitting the ground for over an hour at night. It was steady, like something hitting dirt with leather. Our dog disappears every night and only comes back in the morning. He refuses to go near that part of the forest. Last night, we were on the balcony talking about visiting a local religious man for help. Right then, something heavy moved in the woods below us. A day earlier, my cousin had cursed at whatever was out there. I told him not to do it. Now I'm thinking maybe that was a mistake. We're planning to go talk to someone tomorrow, and we won't leave anything out. If anyone has had a similar experience or know what this could be, we'd appreciate advice. I need to just share this story because I can't stop thinking about it since it happened about 2 months ago. I live at the end of a small town, and our heavily wooded neighborhood consists of large lots that terminate into the Cascade foothills near Issaquah, Washington. So basically, just past where we live in the woods for hundreds of miles is watershed, the foothills, mountains, raw land, and some logging land nearby. A few months ago, I bump into the neighbor, and he hesitates to tell me this story, but he kind of goes for it and says something like, "Well, I know this sounds crazy, but here's what happened." He was out in his yard at dusk and looking into the tree line. 50 yards or so away, he sees a large Sasquatch, 9 to 10 feet tall, broad shoulders, reddish-brown hair, slightly gray around the face, and long, muscular arms. As it comes into focus, he realizes what he's seeing. It turns with a very smooth and fluid motion and runs off very quickly into the woods in the opposite direction, silently. As he recounted the encounter, he kept saying things like, "You must think I'm crazy, but I know what I saw." He was pretty excited about it, and he's a pretty chill guy normally. I personally believe him, as I've heard a few other first and second-hand accounts the last year or two, that share some similarities, and he is a no-nonsense guy. I have to say, I'm cool with the idea that this happened right where I live. Knowing the area well, I can see it would be a very densely wooded route straight to our neighborhood from the middle of nowhere. My dad and I went grouse hunting one fall day in the afternoon of 1982. We had walked a few miles inward using an old mining road. The day was very clear out and the sun was casting a nice warm glow on the forest floor. Visibility was 100. We didn't see any signs of grouse, so we decided to get off the trail and use a well-used game trail that was very narrow but easy to walk on. We proceeded on this trail for well over a mile when the trail began to go downhill into a very large gully between two mountains. It progressively was getting darker as we proceeded to move downhill and seemed to have an ominous feeling to it. We walked down the trail moving slowly and listening and observing for signs of game birds. We barely took notice that there was a long wall of dirt that was about 6 feet high and seemed to parallel the game trail we walked on. Suddenly, we both heard heavy footsteps coming from behind us, moving in the direction we were walking. As the sounds of the footsteps grew louder, we noticed it wasn't walking directly behind us, but just on the other side of this dirt mound that paralleled our trail. The sound was very heavy and clearly bipedal, as the debris on the forest floor was crunched beneath every footstep. We both quickly squatted down and waited for whatever it was to go by or possibly come over the dirt mound at us. My dad, readied with a shotgun, whispered, "I think it's a bear." But it was then that we both noticed that whatever it was walking and was also breaking very high branches at the bottom of the trees, which were at least 7 to 8 feet off the ground. Because of the lack of sunlight and the bottom branches of the pine tree falling off and dying and only grow higher off the ground. Whatever it was tall enough to brush against the bottom branches of the pine, and we both looked at each other with a "what the hell" look on our faces. Suddenly, when the creature was only a few feet from us on the other side of the dirt mound, it stopped. We didn't move a muscle, and I was holding my breath trying to listen and not to be noticed. The creature was standing totally still, and we could hear it sniffing the air slowly. It knew that we were there, but wasn't sure where. Then it began to slowly walk down into the gully again, but hooked around the back, this time on the game trail. Suddenly, we saw it merge from the trees only about 30 yards from us. It was still looking around, slowly scanning for us as we just squatted there on the trail. Then it quickly stopped and gasped as it noticed us, its mouth open, and it had this surprised look on its face. I was so scared I remember I could not feel my legs, and my body had so much adrenaline running through it that my skin was tingling, my mouth was dry, and my tongue was numb. I just couldn't believe what we were seeing. It just stood there looking at us like it was in disbelief as well. I remember looking at this thing's body in every detail and being in awe of the massive size and the muscular build of this creature. It made the Patterson Bigfoot look like a couch potato, as this creature was incredibly well built. Every muscle was defined and overly developed, just looked like a bodybuilder. Even with its immense size, it had this powerful, fast look to it, like it was built to burst out into a fast sprint. It did not look slow at all, and if it wanted to get us, it easily could have. After about 3 to 5 minutes of staring at each other, he slowly backed up, not taking his eyes off of us until it disappeared into the woods. Not saying anything, my dad motioned for us to get up and walk back. We both quickly walked back up the hill as fast as we could. We never said one word as we walked back to the truck. In fact, once in the truck and on the road, we never said anything at all. It was like we were both in shock at what we had seen. Thank you so much for sticking around until the end. I truly hope you enjoyed today's episode. I'm going to apologize for this episode being on the short side, but I am running late doing my Saturday chores, so I hope you guys understand. Now, let's take the time to recognize our channel members, Elizabeth, Jim, and Teresa. I want to thank you guys for your continued support. And if you haven't already, don't forget to hit that like button, the subscribe button, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another episode. And if you had an encounter of your own, I'd love to hear about it. Send your stories to OntarioCryptids@gmail.com, and it could be featured in a future episode. Wishing you all have a fantastic week ahead, and don't miss next week's episode of Ontario Cryptids.